Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Options Professor podcast. This is Damien, and today is Sunday, October 25th. I'm just looking at the futures right now. Thought about trading some of the futures this evening, but I'm waiting it out until I feel a little bit better about how the charts are setting up. But looking into the coming week, we can see that the NQ right now had opened up lower and is trying to recover. And as you can see, it's just hovering right below the 50, which is the blue line on my chart. And so I think that would be a key area for it to cross over the 50 and then maybe try to make a run up. If you missed my podcast on Friday where I talked about the Ichimoku cloud, let me just layer that on here so we can take a look at it with the cloud. So here's the same chart with the Ichimoku cloud. And as you can see, it's been hovering below the cloud and just hitting up the resistance, keeping the cloud above. Friday, it did try to jump over and break out of the cloud, but again opened up today inside of the cloud and looks like it's just going to be riding through this cloud again. I think a lot of this uncertainty this week is going to have to do with earnings. It's a big earnings week. Obviously, here you can see the chart where there's a lot of big names that are reporting earnings this week. And so I'm not sure how I'm going to play this week in terms of my spreads. I know that I'll probably be playing either some scalp trades, day trades, but not a whole lot of spreads this week because there's a lot of unknowns. With these big names such as Apple, Amazon, Shopify, even in the industrials like 3M, UPS, they're all reporting this week, and they can drive the indexes in a major way. It really depends on how they report and how our economy is doing so far. And then obviously with the following week, the U.S. elections coming up, there's a lot of news that may be generated. So I'm kind of leaning towards sitting out this week and not doing a whole lot of spreads, and maybe doing a few earnings plays in these individual stocks. All right, but I did run a scan, and again, this week, my scanners were a little empty compared to previous weeks. Now, I did have a few names pop up, but they were entering into earnings or releasing earnings this week, so I'm staying away from those. But I still want to get a couple of names out there just in case, some of you want to make a play on these stocks. So the first one is THC, and I'm going to leave the cloud on here. If you did not watch my Ichimoku cloud video, I posted it Friday, and I'll link it here so you can watch it. But here's what I'm looking at for the stock right here, THC. And you can see THC has just jumped over the cloud, just like NQ did, but I'm not sure where it's going to open up Monday. If it can hold above the cloud here, I think it can stay above. And hopefully maybe get a puts credit spread down in this level here or closer to the cloud. Okay, so I'll be watching this. I think it's got some support around the 28 level, so you can see here 28, and then it's got range maybe up to 30, so 28 to 30. Okay, and then I really only had one other stock, which was Foot Locker, FL. And Foot Locker, same thing, right? We see it earlier in the week, just hop over the cloud or stay above the cloud, and has been using this cloud as a level of support. So it looks good so far. The 50 moving average is right on the top of the cloud, and obviously the 200 is way below. So I think it's got some support here at 38. So 38 is where I believe it's going to hold support, which is the cloud level area, and then range all the way up to potentially 41 if it can power up. All right, so there's really only two stocks that I had that I'll keep my eye on. Now, there's a couple of ETFs that I'm interested in, and you can trade options on the ETFs. The first one is XLI. And if you're not familiar with these, the XLI here, I'll pop this up. Here's the top 10 holdings within the XLI. They are like UPS, Honeywell, 3M, Raytheon, Boeing, FedEx. So you can see that these are the industrials. When I pull up the chart, you can see same thing. It looks like it's jumping over or staying above the cloud, just jumping out the top. And so I would like it to hold 80. So 80 is right at the bottom of this cloud, with range potentially up to 82 or 83, where the top of the Keltner is. Okay, and these are going to be highly determined. Well, depending on what happens with earnings this week, we'll be watching this ETF, and then the other ETF I'm really interested in is XLY, and XLY again another ETF. This one is for consumer discretionary, and here I'll show you here the top 10 holdings are Amazon, Home Depot, McDonald's, Starbucks, Target, etc. Okay, so I'll be watching this one. You can see it's right below the cloud. So I'm not sure, can it bump through the top, or is it going to stay down below and just ride this down? So this 153 is a key level. And again, I'll be watching it. Not necessarily bullish or bearish on those two, but two sector ETFs that I'm interested in. All right, and then I had a problem trying to find something that might be bearish, but I did come up with one, SRPT. And as you can see here, it's also below the cloud, and I would watch it to follow this trend line down. So again, potential resistance right around the 140 level, 140 if resistance at 140. I don't think it's going to break above that, and maybe run down to 134. Okay, so that's my plan for this week. Probably play it pretty light, considering we've got a lot of earnings coming up. Not a whole lot on the spread front, but nonetheless, we can still try to get some profits this week. Hopefully, you all trade green, and we will be back on Friday to recap the week. Good luck.